Hey guys, welcome to Locked On Astros. We are live here at Baytown Hooters, and we are going to be talking about the second game of this three-game series, trying to hope that the Astros can find offense at home. Let's talk about this and maybe Dusty Baker's banana pudding on this edition of Locked.
Alvarez hits a high drive center field. Beer leans back. This game is turned upside down. There's the runner. Fly ball down the right field line. Tucker comes on. Kyle Tucker. This time they finish the job.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we update you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. Find me on Twitter at Eric Talks Stros. Find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. Brett, where can you find you at when you're not at Hooters of Baytown?
Oh, they can find me at H-Town Wheelhouse on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. They can find me at Stros411 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Always positive, always Stros.
Well, isn't it just like the Houston Astros of 2023? You go ahead and sweep a team like they did with the Rangers, and then you go ahead and get your butt whooped the next day against the Padres. And it was just an embarrassing loss. And a lot of people are saying, well, see, this team isn't as good as we thought they were. But guys, you know what is good? All the listeners. We have a whole bunch of people that came all the way from Cyprus. We had some people that came from other places. But thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go and subscribe to us. Go and make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Go and become an everydayer. Somebody checks out our podcast every day. And so we got a lot to talk about in this show. Dusty Baker responds to all the Chas McCormick talk. And we're going to go ahead and talk about the home woes. How bad is it? How can we fix it? Did we need to get Mama's home cooking going or something? Then we're talking a little bit about the lineup today. Do we have Chas McCormick and Yainer Diaz in the lineup? And also, Cristian Javier's on the mound. Is this going to be the good Cristian Javier or the not so good Cristian Javier? And then Hunter Brown has been struggling lately. When I say struggling, I mean struggling. And Martin Maldonado, not only is he a field trip organizer, not only is he a pitcher guru, but now he's a mentor to Yainer Diaz. And that's another reason why he's starting over Yainer Diaz. So ain't that sweet? So that's some of the topics we're going to be discussing on this episode of Locked On Astros.
So Martin Maldonado just gained a title, field trip coordinator, organizer. I like that. I did not think about that. I mean, he's a man of many talents. You know, Eric, you talk about Cristian Javier at 9-3 with the 4.65 ERA. Really, it is mysterious how he's been going this year, because with the 9 wins and 3 losses, you would think he would have a dominant season, but he obviously has not been that dominant. And, you know, yesterday's loss was frustrating because everybody said surely after they beat the Rangers, the way they beat them into almost submission and almost took their soul from them, surely they're not going to come home and get swept again like they did against the Yankees, because they're so embarrassed with what is going on. And look, last night, they lost 11-2. And, you know, Eric, they ran into Blake Snell. Blake Snell pitched his mind out. If Blake Snell isn't in the top 3 for Cy Young for National League, I don't know what's going on, because this guy's good. He had 8 strikeouts. But of those pitches, I would say 11 of the 39 pitches that he threw for, you know, swings and misses, a lot of them were out of the zone. He just had wicked stuff. Chas McCormick was in the lineup. Yainer Diaz was in the lineup. And I don't know if you saw the at-bats. They didn't look competitive. They were swinging, and they were missing really badly. And sometimes the pitcher just has the better end of it. And Blake Snell last night looked like every bit of a 13-9 pitcher. For the Padres, you know, the Padres are a few games under 500, so they're not exactly world beaters this year themselves.
And Hunter Brown just didn't have a good game. Sometimes you just stink it up. And I know that Dusty Brown said that he actually Dusty Baker, sorry, Hunter Brown, whatever. But Dusty Baker said he had Martin Maldonado in there because he was hoping to settle Brown down, and he's been struggling a lot recently. But he gave up 6 runs in 4 1/3 inning. He did have 5 strikeouts, but his ERA has gone all the way up from 3.50, like at the midpoint of the season, all the way up to 4.78. And this is a guy that you have to start to question. Okay, Is this somebody that we want to see in the playoff rotation? And so now you have a bunch of what ifs. And Cristian Javier, we'll talk about him in a little bit. He is hopefully solidifying one of those what ifs, and that's who's going to be the number 3 guy in the Astros rotation. JP France could have a word to say about that, but he's been kind of up and down recently.
Well, I think, with Hunter Brown, when we talk about Hunter Brown in this conversation, 10 and 11 on the year, he's actually thrown 20 plus more innings than he's ever thrown in a single season in his professional career. So when we talk about, is Hunter Brown that guy, it's not that we don't think he has the stuff, because we harken back to the 2022 playoffs. He was phenomenal, but he also had not been to the innings limit that he is this year. When I say limit, like, he is literally, I think he had 122 innings for the most of his career, and this year he's at 140 plus. Right. And that right there is, I think, you've got some arm fatigue. When you're young, even though you're, as a young athlete, you're supposed to have the most energy, you're supposed to have the most endurance. But when these pitchers are built the way they're built, Hunter Brown did piggyback starts all through the minor leagues. It's tough to jump from 120 to 140. And the expectations were really high, Hunter Brown coming in. He was projected to be a top 10 rookie of the year. Right. Yainer Diaz wasn't even in that rookie of the year conversation. He wasn't even really thought to be a part of this, because everybody's like, is it going to be Corey Lee or Yainer? So Hunter Brown, I think this is his biggest problem, Eric, is not his fatigue. I think it's his composure. And on the mound, he gets really frustrated really quickly. And that's where I think he needs to grow up towards the end of this year. No one wants to grind more than Hunter Brown. I've talked to him in person. I love his bravado. I love his attitude, but he clearly gets unraveled too quickly. And I think that's where JP France has been better than him this year, where JP France has weathered storms better than Hunter Brown.
Well, a lot of people say the Astros don't score runs early, but actually Brian McTaggart tweeted out that the Astros have outscored opponents 100-69 this season in the first inning. Wow. So they've actually scored a lot in the first inning, but it's just they haven't been able to do much after that. So they're able to pounce on the pitchers, but then the pitchers are able to settle in and go deep into games. And we make these pitchers that are not very great pitchers look like they're Cy Young Award winners. So it's just frustrating situations here.
Yeah, definitely. And not only that, when you have Hunter Brown struggling, the offense, they like to try to make an issue. Someone had said something about a couple players said it's hard to see in the batter's box because the batter's eye may not be high enough.
Well, what about the past, 20 years that they've been playing baseball there?
Or what about the Padres? Did the batter's eye does it just affect the Astros? Look, I don't think they're looking for excuses. I don't know if someone's taking a comment and running with it. But at the end of the day, there is something that is amiss with the home ballpark. Some people are saying maybe they just need to get a hotel and not go home. I think we need to commission Rob Manfred and ask him if we can take all remaining home games and put them on the road. Maybe we do want to be the wild card because all 3 games in the first round are on the road of the team that has the better record. So maybe they need to fall into one of those spots. It's a mystery to me how these guys are so potent and so powerful, but yet they come home and they just simply can't seem to even hit the ball. 2 runs. I know Blake Snell was great, but this is a massive problem. Eric, didn't you say the other day on the show, because someone said this is just baseball, aren't they like -7 with run differential at home?
Well, that went up a little bit. What was the score yesterday? It was
11-2.
9. So add 9 runs to that. So that was
-16 at home run differential versus on the road.
It was 121 or something like that.
And no, so folks, don't just tell me this is just baseball. This is historic. Yeah, this is historic baseball.
Historically bad at home.
This doesn't happen. And look, we don't want this to be another year like against the Nationals, where every road team won the game. Now, if we make it to the World Series and we're playing the Braves, guess who has home field advantage? The Braves. Maybe that works out for the Houston Astros.
So Brett is saying that maybe they need to move out of their mansions and move into hotels while they're at home. And maybe instead of eating at all these restaurants, they need to eat at one of the best restaurants out there. Maybe come out to Hooters. So, Brett, tell us a little bit about Hooters.
Well, yeah, definitely. We're live here at Baytown Hooters, and we are over here off of I-10 near the Garth Road exit. So come check us out. And if you are, no matter where you are in Houston, whether you're in Sugar Land, Pearland, whether you're in Humble, you can be in Katy, you can be in all the way up Galveston. There is a Hooters. And why? Because Hooters makes you happy. They have great specials every week, Monday through Friday. They have food specials. They have $3 Blue Moon drafts every day, and they have $9.99 Michelob Ultra pitchers. You can get Miller Lite, Coors Light, Blue Moon, and so much more. They've got great desserts. They've got snacks. Look, I had the smoked wings the other day. Top shelf smoked wings.
I just had some right now. They're great.
Yeah, they're phenomenal. I mean, we were sitting here. We got here a little early to partake in the grub, and not only that, you get served by the world famous Hooters girls. So make sure you check us out. And when you do, go to your local Hooters and tell them Locked On Astros sent you. You get a free basket of fried pickles.
All right. So we got a shout out to the guy in the background. Guy in the background, do you want to come up here real quick and go ahead and say something?
Hey, come here, Edward. This is Edward. He is a listening member. Look, he didn't know, but he showed up today. Have a seat, my friend. This is Edward right here. He watches our show every single day. Edward, how you doing?
Every day. Yes, sir.
How you doing, man?
Pretty good.
Good deal. So, Edward, tell us, what is it that you've really enjoyed about, Locked On Astros and following us since you've been a part of our Locked On Nation?
Well, a lot of times after a game, we have us as fans have so many thoughts, and I feel I can go in after every game and listen to you guys and y'all say what I think and let us talk about the game.
That's
and
awesome.
Thoughts,
and that's the thing. That's what we try to do best is we try to connect with our fan base. Now, let me ask you, Edward, how concerned are you about the Astros home woes? Like, is this something we need to be concerned about going into the playoffs?
I think so because we play the Braves, even the Mariners at their stadium. There's some rowdy fans out there, but when they come home and win, when you go out there and win, when you come home and win.
That's right. But if we're having a hard time scoring at home, that's a big concern, right?
Yeah, it was kind of depressing yesterday after, going to Arlington and, whooping up on them. Coming home, it was kind of disappointing. A lot of Astro fans, kind of down right now, but hopefully today we can get it. So
definitely. Edward, thank you so much for, hanging out with us. We appreciate you. This guy watches us every single day. He came out here with his wife, and they are hanging out with us. We're going to hopefully watch the Astros take game 2.
Yeah, hopefully take the series, take today and tomorrow.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And Mr. Edward, we have got a bobblehead that we are going to give you and your wife for coming on the show. So thank you so
appreciate
much.
it. Hey, I enjoy your show. I'm a big fan of y'all. So
appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir.
Hey,
thank you.
Grab the Altuve bobblehead. All right, well, I'm going to give it to him here on camera. All right, we got the Jose Altuve Silver Slugger bobblehead.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being such a great fan, and thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, sir.
Go Astros.
Go Astros.
Thank you.
Always positive. Always Astros.
That's right. Yes, sir. No, yeah, and that's the thing. When you come out and watch us live, you definitely benefit from that. And I promise you, when he came here, he had no idea we were going to bring him up on camera.
No, we like to sneak up on people like ninjas.
Yeah, we just like, hey, you want to be on the show? But hey, we love what we do here. Look, Eric, yesterday, if I'm looking at this, Altuve, Pena, Alvarez all got a hit each. Bregman got a hit. Abreu got a hit. They all got hits, right? I mean, they had 6 hits, but they were only able to plate 2 runs. They did score that run in the first. You would hope they would have put a crooked number on the first. Maybe would have changed things. But after that second inning, putting up a 4 spot on the Astros, the Padres just never looked back. And even though the Padres are 67 and 75, they played like a team that's 75 and 67. They played like a playoff team.
Well, when you're a team that's just coming off the World Series and you're trying to get back to the World Series, everybody's going to come for your head. They're not going to come in and just say, oh, this is just another team. They're going to come saying, oh, this is our World Series. This is our time to – doesn't matter what happens right now. This is our time to shine, and we're going to play our best baseball. And so I think this is what teams at the Astros face when they face these teams. So the Padres, went out and spent a lot of money over the past 3 or 4 years. They brought over Manny Machado. They brought over Juan Soto, who's probably still 22. I don't know. We can ask.
I think he's only 21.
21? Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But there's definitely some talent over there. They just haven't been able to put it together. Yu Darvish is on IL right now, and Joe Musgrove missed most of the season. So they have a good nucleus. They just can't seem to put it together. And unfortunately, they have the Dodgers in that same division, and also they have the Diamondbacks that have hit the fountain of youth. And so and then they have this new kid that we've heard about from somebody on YouTube, Hae-Sun Kim, and he's having a great season. He's batting .273 with a .786 OPS with 17 home runs, 57 RBIs. So this is a guy that's kind of emerging over the past 3 years with the Padres. So yeah, you're finding the Padres are eventually going to get to where they want to be. They're not there yet. They're going to probably fall short this year, but it's the Astros' job to not fall short. And what they've got to do is they've got to win series. I don't care if it's on the road or at home. They got to figure out a way to do it. I don't know if they need to maybe just wear different jerseys or maybe not change their socks.
I don't know what they got to do. They got to put their leg. They got to put their legs. They've got to do something different. They've got to get up different. They got to eat different cereal. They've got to throw away their lucky socks. I really think they just need to go on the road. I don't understand what it is. You can't blame the pitch clock. You can't blame the batter's eye. You can't blame. Maybe you can blame comfort. Maybe you can blame. They're just too. I just don't think this team has this same killer instinct that they've had for years. It's very hard for a team to weather the storm of losing a Correa and a Springer and guys like that and survive it. And they've done that and won a World Series since losing them. But at the end of the day, those guys' infectious attitudes and behaviors, if you don't have someone replacing that, you don't just manufacture that. It's not like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. You don't just like create something because you got a machine. That has got to come from your heart. And maybe throughout the year, they've been trying to find that. Maybe they've been having more meetings lately with the team saying, we got to figure this out. Because if you're a season ticket holder, if you're a fan that goes to a lot of home games, you pretty much right now can expect to go to a home game and be disappointed unless they turn this thing around. But there's been other things going on, Eric. Yeah. There's been other stuff been talked about.
So let's go and give the audience, because I don't know the listening audience have heard a lot about what's going on about Chas not being a big boy, and he's only. But
he is a big boy.
He's not in it. He's only in his third or fourth year, so he's not one of the big boys, and that's why Dusty Baker's not playing him every day. And my opposition to that is, why is Jeremy Pena playing every day? Why did Yordan Alvarez play every day? Because they were great players, and there's no other people to really duplicate what they can do. But Chas McCormick is a guy that has shown that he can do it in the World Series. He's shown that this year. I don't know if y'all saw what Roflo put up on MLB Network.
Yeah,
he actually compared Julio Rodriguez, because Chas McCormick is not Julio Rodriguez, basically what Dusty Baker said. And if you look at their stats, they pretty much compare head to head. And I know that if you look at the pedigree of Julio Rodriguez, he's going to probably have a much better career than Chas McCormick, but their numbers compare so well. And so there's an article that came out on The Athletic, and it basically said that the reason why Chas McCormick is not playing is because Dusty Baker says he's not a big boy. He hasn't earned the playing time yet. And so the other players have he's not an everyday player, basically. And so basically maybe some of it had to do with him adding some weight. Some of it had to do with other stuff, but Dusty Baker had something to say about it. And this is going to lead to Thoughts by Dusty.
Thoughts by Dusty.
As far as me not liking Chas, I don't understand where this is coming from at all. It caused a kind of a blank storm out there, which is very unnecessary, totally unnecessary. It seems as if somebody has something against me. We'll talk about who in a second. They ought to use it against me and not use it against my players against me. That is so wrong. As far as Chas not playing, You can ask Chas. I told him before he got hurt, Chas, you can have this job if you want it. I'm not going to give it to you, but if you want this job, you can take it.
Okay, hold up. Let's stop right there because that's actually not a bad line from a manager. Like, if you want this job, you can have it. Like, I'm not going to give it to you.
Right.
I don't mind that mindset. I like the mindset of earning it because we live in a day and a time where a lot of people walk around feeling like somebody owes them something. And he's telling Chas, you got to like, I'm not saying you don't deserve it, but I'm not going to tell you do deserve it.
Right.
And just like a good parent would, like my dad did growing up, I would ask my dad, because I didn't make All-Stars every year. And in the years I didn't make All-Stars, I'd ask my dad, why didn't I make the All-Star team? And he would say, son, you're not an All-Star. I mean, my dad, who was my coach, would tell me, I didn't vote for you because you weren't good enough to be on the All-Star team. He was my dad. He didn't have to vote for me. That kind of reminded me of that. So I like that portion of his quote. But go on, because I want to hear about his banana pudding.
All right. Then he goes on to say, then he got hurt. He was out 20 days. 20 days. Imagine how many more at-bats he could have had then. He's played 42 out of 50 games. That's 1 day off a week. Every 7 days. That's a lot of playing. I pride myself in putting guys in a situation where they most likely succeed. Offensively, defensively, as far as his weight is concerned, if I had something against his weight, and you can ask him, I would bring him banana pudding once a week. I stop by, this is it, and give him some banana pudding. If I was concerned about a guy's weight, I would not bring a guy banana pudding, or maybe I would help to contribute to that. I take care of my guys. I appreciate if people will stop trying to help me manage because they think I know what I'm doing. I take care of my players the same way they take care of me.
So here's my question about the whole banana pudding thing. Number one, is Dusty Baker's banana pudding, is this a homemade recipe or is this something he's buying, Chas?
It's on the back of the Jell-O box.
Well, look, and it's probably good because if it's anything like my grandmother's banana pudding, I'm all for it. And I don't know if Dusty Baker's being tongue-in-cheek or if he's being serious. This is part of the issue, I think, with a lot of the people's problems, and I don't speak for everybody, but this is my observation from the outside looking in. Dusty says things and tries to over-explain, thus making it look bad on what he's saying. So where his intentions are good and he's trying to get the right messaging out there, then he's saying something in a way that people are able to, when you say too much, people are able to take that and twist your words. I think what he's saying here is, look, if I didn't, like, I take care of my guys. And if I thought he had a weight problem, I wouldn't share, like, I wouldn't offer him stuff. Like, you know, and I think he just used the banana pudding thing because he said when they were in New York, they were at this hotel, they're at this restaurant, and he bought Chas some banana pudding. And I think that was just fresh on his mind. So it's something we can talk about. It's something to banter about. It's something to have fun. It's kind of a fun, funny topic to talk about. But at the end of the day, I think what needs to happen is the Houston Astros need to get control of what's going on, the messaging coming from the clubhouse. Is there a bone being picked between Chandler and Dusty? I don't think they like each other. Now, I haven't asked either one what they think of the other, and Dusty doesn't come across to me as someone who's going to openly profess his disdain to someone's face, but he'll say, somebody doesn't like me, like he's done. I just think it's odd. I don't think there's a division in the clubhouse, but it definitely isn't a great look when your club is reeling when they come at home and struggle.
All right. So if you're wondering if Dusty Baker is bringing Chas McCormick to Hooters for some banana pudding, he is not, because they don't have it. But what they do have is some great funnel fries. They also have some dessert shooters, so you can desserts shooters, and also some chocolate mousse cakes. Shut up. And some caramel fudge cheesecake.
It's been a long day,
and
folks.
some key lime pie. So we were seeing some of those dessert shooters earlier. They're actually pretty cool looking.
Yeah, we may actually, I think they're having a contest with the waitresses on how many dessert shooters that they sell. And so we may have to get some of those. So if y'all are listening, you're here, get those dessert shooters. Are doing a contest for your favorite waitress. But look, Eric, yesterday the Astros gave up a season-high 5 stolen bases to the Padres. Dusty Baker, going with the Dusty Baker theme, said, we have to get better at our times to home plate. We were 1.5 and 1.6 sometimes, so that's far too slow.
Right.
We could have had Johnny Bench back there last night, and it wouldn't have mattered. Look,
I thought Martin Maldonado was Johnny Bench.
Well, I
thought he was the best catcher ever.
Look, if I'm being honest here, though, yes. If
confused.
I'm being honest about this, Yainer Diaz would have thrown out some of those runners. I really believe that. We know Maldonado's defensive capabilities have gone down a notch, and I do think that Martin Maldonado is the lesser of the two when it comes to defensive metrics, but he is still the more trusted guy. Eric, Yainer Diaz, I think Chas McCormick just came out with an article today talking about the mentor-mentee relationship between Yainer and Maldonado. I don't think Yainer and Maldonado are at odds with each other. I think people on social media who are in the Maldonado camp and in the Yainer camp are at odds with each other. So we don't try to create drama where there's not drama. And so what are some things that Martin Maldonado has said about this or just what he's been talking about lately?
Well, I know that we've heard that the pitchers, or we've heard some rumors that the pitchers prefer Martin Maldonado. There's certain pitchers that don't really care. But we do know that Maldonado has said that he's kind of working with Diaz. And so it's this is something that I think is going to pay the Astros dividends. Yes, we'd like to see him play some more, but I think right now this is probably what's going to be best for him in the future. Right now he's batting .283 with 21 homers, 54 RBIs, and he's got some defensive play. So, but Maldonado said he's kind of shy. He doesn't talk much. That's why I've asked him to ask the team to put him next to me in the locker room. That way we can have communication whenever, and even if we've talked about families and stuff like that. And I think we're building a good relationship, and we both pull for each other. It's not like Diaz doesn't say, "Oh, you're starting over me again." That's
a fan narrative. Okay, let's. And this is where our job gets tough, because we have to separate what the pulse of the fan base is versus what do we think is actually going on.
Right.
And I don't pretend to know any more. Obviously, I don't know any more than Chandler Rome because I'm not in the clubhouse. He is. You know, he heard from 4 sources that people were frustrated. Chaz's lack of playing time.
Right.
We also heard other things where, but we haven't heard anything about Yainer being upset. I think Yainer knows his place. And if you have followed baseball for even more than a couple of years, you know that there's a seniority thing there.
Yeah, most rookies get hazing because they have to wear the backpacks, the little girly backpacks on the field,
but they
have to carry the veterans luggage.
Because the older players make the younger players do that, right?
Yeah.
There is
even Alvarez was doing that, even though he was the superstar in his first year. They still did it because that's part of who they are. And I think Diaz understands this. While as fans, we want to see him in the lineup more, and we get it. But what Maldonado said, it's a privilege to have a mentor that speaks the same language. Sorry, this is what Diaz said. It's a privilege to have a mentor that speaks the same language as me to kind of help me. While I'm catching, he tells me he would have called this pitch because of this. It's a learning process. But I'm learning and getting better. I feel more comfortable this year than I felt last year when I came up. And Maldonado said, I think he's going to be a guy that's going to be a two-way player from the catching position. You don't see those guys too often. This is a guy that's going to put up big numbers behind the plate. He's getting better. He's already good at framing. He's already good at throwing runners out. He's got an unbelievable arm, and he's already really good at blocking. So with more experience, he's probably going to be a big-time catcher, is what Maldonado said.
I think we're looking at a guy that really could end up being on an all-star team. You look at a guy that if he has a long enough career, I'm not saying he's Pedro Rodriguez 2.0, but he has a lot of – Pedro Rodriguez was one of those guys that he had all tools. He could hit for power. He could hit for average. He could throw runners out. He was smart. He was a great game caller. And Yanner Diaz can become that. I think he's on his way to becoming a great thing. And speaking of Yanner Diaz, tomorrow night from 7 to 8 p.m., he's going to be at the Uberito in Champions Forest. The address is 5603 FM 1960 West, Houston, Texas 77069. I will be there. We will be there to meet Yanner Diaz, to hopefully talk to him, get in front of him, ask him some questions about his development. But he's going to be signing autographs, Eric, from 7 to 8 p.m. at the Champions Uberito. It's all over our socials. I'll do a little short, put some more details out there. But he's going to be there amongst the people signing autographs. So you get to meet Yanner Diaz, future all-star catcher of the Houston Astros.
Did y'all hear that? He just said, I will be there. And like he's leaving me at home. Are you leaving me at home, bro?
Well, you're welcome to tag along if you want to, Eric.
All right. So, yeah, definitely Diaz. That'll be an awesome experience there. So, but I think that I think Dusty Baker may be doing the right thing here. But I think that at this point, with 20 games left, the Astros need to put the best lineup out there. And Martin Maldonado, while he has some games where he has 2 home runs or he gets some hits every once in a while, but it just doesn't really always get to where you want it to be. And today you're going to be facing Seth Lugo, right?
Versus
Lugo, Cristian Javier. Almost said Lugo, but this is definitely going to be an interesting matchup. Seth Lugo is 6-6 with 3.49 ERA. Javier is coming off one of his better starts in a while, in 3 months, as Dusty Baker said. He's 9-3 with a 4.65 ERA. So after yesterday's game, it's up to Cristian Javier to kind of settle things down. You're coming off a series where you dominated the Texas Rangers 39-10. You hit 16 home runs in 3 games, and then you have a stinker like you did yesterday. And even Jose Urquidy came in and he pitched 4 innings, but he gave up 5 runs himself.
Yeah.
So
it was
the
not a good
Astros
night for the pitchers.
have got to find some way to settle down at home, score some runs at home, and put it all together, because I hate to tell you, you have to win just as many games at home during the playoffs.
Exactly. And so the Astros lineup is Altuve, Pena, Alvarez, batting cleanup, Bregman, Kyle Tucker, 5th, Abreu, 6th, Brantley, Dubon, and Maldonado. So no Diaz, no McCormick. But Brantley is in there playing left field. You love to see it. So hopefully the big boppers can be in there and can connect with some home runs, see some home runs out in the Crawford boxes. You got to keep Kim off the boards because he likes it. That's why he's hitting leadoff. Tatis Jr. obviously having a great year with 23 home runs, Soto 28, Machado 26. Look, if these guys stay together with Xander Bogaerts and the team they have, the Padres really have a chance to make some noise if they stay together, if they keep this team together. But I like the Astros' chances tonight. I think they come back. I have a hard time believing that they'll lose a 5th game in a row at home, Eric. So I think they win a close one tonight, and I'm just going to go ahead and predict. I know we're not really into predicting stuff as of late, but I say they win the game tonight 5-4 against the San Diego Padres.
Yeah, so it's about command with Cristian Javier. When he's demonstrating that command, he has that rise on the fastball, and everything's kind of sinking the way it's supposed to be and rising the way it's supposed to be. And he's like fooling the hitters. That's when he's going to dominate. When he's just throwing it down the middle or just having no control whatsoever, it's just going everywhere. That's when you're going to see a pitcher that's just not doing what you're supposed to do. And that's when the bad Cristian Javier comes out. So Martin Maldonado has got to thread that line tonight. He's got to go ahead and do what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to be a pitcher whisperer. He's got to be an expert catcher. He's got to be a mentor to not just Diaz tonight, but to Cristian Javier. You got to have somebody that's going to come out and dominate on as the pitching staffs, not just Cristian Javier.
Yeah. So look, to wrap things up, the Astros just got to take care of business at home. I think on the road, we know what they are. They are one of the best teams in baseball. So hopefully we will hear them make noise tonight. The train tracks will be moving. There will be fireworks.
Hopefully.
And because what is the update on the Mariners score right now? They were close, right? It
was 4-3 last time I checked. So I know that the
Mariners, it's 5-5 right now, bottom of the 9th, and they're in Tampa. So
let's go Rays.
Yeah, if the Rays can beat the Mariners and the Astros can win, then we can go back to having a full game lead or a game and a half lead. I'm not sure.
Luckily, with all the crap that happened yesterday with the Astros, the Rangers lost and the Mariners lost as well.
Everybody lost in the West.
Yeah.
Even the Angels lost.
Yeah. But the Blue Jays, we got to watch out for the Blue Jays. George Springer is getting hot at the right time. He had another home run today.
As long as we're in the lead of the West, I don't care what the Blue Jays do. If we go into second place, that's when we worry about the Blue Jays.
Okay, so people are making predictions onto what the Astros score is. Electro Game says 7-4. Miguel says 6-5. And David, who's always super optimistic, said 17-1.
David,
Astros.
there's no way David is David. That is not a serious take. You are always negative. There's no way.
Fine.
David, is he here at Hooters drinking in the corner?
No, he's fine.
Okay.
We appreciate you coming on, David. But and he also mentions that Tucker is still stuck at 99 RBIs. So it'll be great if he can get that 100th RBI at home. And so it would be good for that. And I think the Astros offense just needs to do something at home. I don't know if they need to change up what they eat in the clubhouse before or whatever is going on, but we got 15 minutes before first pitch, and the Astros just need to get it done. And what Hunter Brown did was not it. And I know a lot of people in the comments have basically said, what do we do with Hunter Brown? Do we go ahead and move him to the bullpen? And so I think that's something that the Astros need to decide at this point. But the reason I brought up Jose Urquidy earlier is he hasn't really done anything to being like, okay, yeah, let's move him to the rotation. Hunter Brown he's raised his ERA up. I have the number here. It went all the way up from 362 to 453 or whatever it is right now. And so he's just struggling recently. And so Maldonado said yesterday, I think he threw a couple of good innings. I feel like maybe he was rushed a little bit with men on base, trying to be quicker to the plate. I feel that's when he kind of lost the strike zone. A couple unlucky hits that they got, especially in the second inning, I would say. So Dusty Baker said this about both pitchers, Urquidy and Brown. Both of them are struggling a little bit right now. Thank you, Dusty.
Yeah, Dusty, the king of obvious sometimes. He, like I said, look, I mean, all the issues that are going on, the Astros are still in first place. We have to be always positive, always Astros. And that's what we're going to do. So the Astros, I think, come out with a win tonight, split the series, hoping to go for a series win tomorrow. Again, join us Sunday night at Ubritos. We'll be there. Yana will be signing autographs from 7 to 8. You'll get to meet the man himself and come hang out with us. We'll put the address and stuff on all our socials. So thank y'all for hanging out with us, coming out to Hooters.
Yeah, the Astros are 35-35 at home at Minute Park. So hopefully they can get a win tonight and change their kind of even keel record at home. So they got to do that by scoring early and scoring often. So I think that's all we got for this.
Yes, sir.
This edition
Let's
of the
get ready
Locked
to
On
watch this
Astros
Astros
podcast.
game.
Yeah, we're going to go and watch the game for a little bit, talk to some people around here, and go Astros. Thank you for making us your first listen, whether it's on YouTube. Go and subscribe to us. Go and make us your first listen. Become an everydayer, somebody that listens to our podcast every day. And go ahead and listen to us on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Go and check out the Locked On Astros podcast. And Brett?
Go Astros.